Hey guys, hey, it is Thursday. Welcome to another episode, Making Hay with JRA. Coming to you every Thursday, every Tuesday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. JRA brings information and content to you, teaching you how to grow your junk removal business, how to really help you blow up your junk removal business, help you get off the truck. We do it every Tuesday and Thursday. You can also check us out at JRA.com. That's JunkRemovalAuthority.com. I am Lee Godbold, and we're going to get started. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them either in YouTube or Facebook, and we will we'll respond on video. This is a Q&A session as well. Today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the absolute worst number in business, the absolute worst number in your junk removal business. And that is the number one. You might want to be the number one, but if you're going to be number one in your area for junk removal, you have got to fear the number one, and we're going to talk about why. You absolutely want nothing to do with having just one of anything in your business. And we're going to go through a list of different types of what types of things I'm talking about. But if you have one of anything, if there's one thing in your business, one truck, one employee, yourself, whoever that you 100% rely on, then that's a danger zone. That is an area where if you lose that one employee, that one truck, if you get sick or get hurt, your business is going to tank. It's going to sink. So we're here to help you identify those potential pain points in your business and help you take the steps and take the little bit of risk involved in eliminating that so you can set yourself up for success in your junk removal business. We got any questions or anything yet, Aaron?
Not yet.
All right. Anybody watching?
Yeah, we got a few people.
What you got, Brett?
I got you. Yep, I'm aware.
We're good. Okay. All right. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is just one employee. If you have just one employee, you need to be afraid. You need to be scared because there's a good chance that that employee at some point is going to get sick, is going to have a death in the family, is going to show up late or not show up at all, and is going to quit, most likely. So one of the things that a lot of people do when they first get started in business is you don't want to hire too many people because you're afraid you're not going to have the work to keep those people busy. You know, you're like, all right, if I want to hire these people, I want to make sure I can get them 30, 40 hours a week or whatever you guys determine beforehand. And that's understandable. That's very courteous on your part, and that definitely is a consideration. But the issue is you're setting yourself up because you're relying on one individual. And that could be you. You know, again, at some point along the line, you're going to get sick, you're going to hurt yourself at some point, you're going to have issues where you yourself are going to be offline. Or the other thing is if you're 100% reliant, you have to be in work all the time, at some point in time, you're going to get freaking sick of junk removal because you're forced to do it. It's no longer something you enjoy doing. You feel like you're a slave to your business. So avoid one employee, avoid one of yourself. When you hire, when you first get started, look for 2 employees. And look for 2 part-time guys, if at all possible. Even if they're not both available Monday through Saturday, even if some are only available Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the other guy's available Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, that's fine because at least if for some reason somebody no-shows you on one day, you do know that you're at least going to have somebody else available that second day. Another thing to think about is temporary labor. So there's companies out there, there's temp labor agencies out there. I wouldn't hire a temp labor agency to bring guys into a customer's home. But if any of you guys do work on construction sites, you do work at apartment complexes cleaning up dumpsters, you do anything that does not involve public content, or it's a really large like demo type job or something like that, temp labor guys normally work great. They're generally not the most presentable individuals as far as having customer contact, but they are absolutely, a lot of them are great at actually carrying out hard labor. When you get temp labor agencies too, the nice thing about it is they pay workers' comp insurance. So if you don't have workers' comp insurance, you can supplement, you can actually use temp labor agencies. If you're having a job that requires workers' comp, you can actually talk and see, can I use a temp labor agency? It's me and a temp labor agency because the temp labor is going to carry workers' comp. So you pay one flat rate and there's no additional insurance. They're paying Medicare, they're paying Social Security, they're covering everything. Temp labor is a great way to go. We got any questions yet? All right, guys, the other thing you can do is zip codes. We're happy to pull pricing and all. So if any guys want, like we did on past episodes, if you guys want us to kind of assist you on setting your pricing, just provide us with a zip code, and we'll run through the pricing calculations. Okay. You don't want one truck. And this is a pretty obvious one. You don't want to rely on just one vehicle. That one vehicle, if it goes down, if it breaks down, and it's going to, especially you guys that are out there rolling around and use vehicles, 8, 10-year-old vehicles, even 5-year-old vehicles that have a couple 100,000 miles, at some point a water pump's going to go out. At some point a transmission's going to give up the ghost. At some point an engine is going to lock up and blow up. What you don't want it to have happen is that engine that locks up to lock up and lock down your business. You have to have a backup plan in place. Now, a mistake that you can make is getting a second truck too soon if you're a little strapped for cash. I'd rather see you save that cash and put it towards advertising to actually get customers in on your business rather than purchasing a second truck for the situation, the inevitable situation, but it could be later rather than sooner, of your truck breaking down. So you don't need a $30, $40, $60, $70,000 vehicle or whatever, or even a $15,000 vehicle sitting in backup necessarily if you're a little tight for cash. What you can do is make sure you've located a rental truck, so even if it's U-Haul or whatever, and have a plan in place and have an account set up. You can set up an account with U-Haul and you get a big discount for having an account. A lot of times they don't even require much of a usage to get that. If you're set up as a business, then you can have some discounted rates. That's something you need to set up beforehand though. If you go to U-Haul and you need a truck right then and there, they're gonna rent you at the full residential rate of 99 cents a mile or 59 cents a mile, whatever size truck you go with. So go ahead while your truck's running and operating correctly, while you're not while you're not having issues that you're having to address. When you've got a little bit of downtime, get that rental truck agreement set up so you have that backup plan in place. Now, those of you that have gone out and purchased a dump truck, a pickup truck and trailer makes a great backup. So when we first got started, we first started out on a pickup truck and trailer. We figured we were going to be big time and go with 2 vehicles, run 2 vehicles. And the first time we did a job in that pickup truck and trailer after we'd done a job in the dump truck, we're like, forget this. We're running this dump truck. We can do twice the amount of jobs with this dump truck than with this pickup truck and trailer. Our trailer didn't dump. So we're using this dump truck exclusively. But we held on to that trailer and we held on to that pickup for a backup. You don't want one of anything. You don't want one truck. You want a backup plan in place because at some point it's going to give up. Answer the phone, guys. You don't want to be the only one answering this phone. I did this for quite a while. I was the only person answering the phone, and then we got Christian for a few months into the business, and Christian started being taking calls shortly thereafter. But there's some point along the line is going to come up where you're going to be busy, or be in an area with no cell reception. When you guys are going out and doing these jobs, I know every single one of us has gone to some area where we have you got no cell reception. You don't want to be doing this job for an hour or 2 hours and be missing out on calls that come through, because I hate to tell you, that voicemail message that y'all set up, half of you got your voicemail boxes full, you can't leave a message anyway. They ain't gonna leave a message, guys. What they're gonna do, they're gonna get on Google. They're gonna get on Google and they're going to go to the next down the list. Or if they're on Craigslist, they're going to the next down on Craigslist. If they're on Yelp, they're going to the next down on Yelp. They're not leaving a message. Those of y'all that think the majority of people that call you are going to leave a message are incorrect. And the problem is if you're in a bad cell reception area, you're not even going to see a missed call. So they called you, it went straight to voicemail because you got no service, and your phone isn't telling you it's a missed call. JRA can help out with that. We do have a call center. You can use as much or as little as you want. So if you want us to take all your calls, we're probably going to book it in a higher percentage than you will anyway, because we have trained sales professionals taking those calls. But the other end is if you miss a call or after hours. This thing's open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. So that means even you folks in California, we're covering you until 7 o'clock. So, get a backup plan in place. If it's not JRA, have it be your wife, have it be another employee, have it be somebody to ensure this phone is getting answered at all times. The other thing, guys, you don't want to be a slave to this thing. You don't want to have to rely on having to answer this telephone. I lived that way for 5 or 6 years, and it keeps you from doing a lot of stuff. There were events I would not do. There were things that I would not do because I'd be like, no, I have to be available for this telephone. There's an easier option out there, guys. You don't have to sacrifice your life to make sure this business runs at 100%. We have an option for you. All right, rolling right along. Just let me know anytime we have any questions there, Aaron. Guys, any questions you got, post right in. We got some? All right.
Hey, we got a question from Kendall Timms. Can you
Kendall.
go over where I can find a good used dump truck?
So, Kendall, we recommend if you're going to buy a used truck, number one, we recommend you go brand new. And if you want to go brand new, let us know. But that makes you make a commitment, and that ensures that you're not going to have that downtime. However, if you're not considering new, or if you're unable to buy new, you could have no credit, bad credit, you just don't want to spend the money, whatever. That's fine. So, commercialtrucktrader.com is generally the first place I start. Let's see if this is going to work or not. Is this on camera? Okay, great. So commercialtrucktrader.com. What you're going to start, actually what I generally do, instead of going directly there, I type in Isuzu dump trucks for sale on Google. And we go to commercialtrucktrader.com. This is in your area, guys. If you're on the East Coast, TA Trucks almost always has a used got junk truck. They're out of Pennsylvania. You still might want to consider it if you're in Texas, but let's see if there's anything closer. So, Aaron, give me a zip code for Austin, Texas, if you would. So we got dump truck, we got Isuzu, and we're going to change it to used. What you got?
We got a bunch. We can go with 78716.
Is that for Texas?
Yes.
That's Texas, 78716, correct? Okay,
That's it.
Great. All right, so used truck. Guys, there's a good chance there's not going to be a got junk truck on here, but we'll take a look anyway. All right, so we got used trucks here. And then, Kendall, all it's a matter of, if you're looking for a got junk truck, is you're going to recognize them. So, I mean, we'll just scroll through this list. If these are used, some of these dealers I think will actually list new trucks as used. Here we go. So you're just going to go through this list looking for a got junk truck. And once you find one, look at the mileage. If you guys, all right, we use diesel trucks. Gas trucks, you can get them for cheaper. The gas is actually a little bit less, as far as per gallon. The repairs are less expensive and the parts are more readily available. So there's definitely advantages for gas. We chose the diesel. One of the reasons we chose the diesel is because back when we first bought our first truck, there wasn't, when we bought it used, there wasn't all this emissions crap that we have to put up with now. Your diesel particulate filter, your DEF system, so on and so forth. So when you're looking for a used Isuzu truck, try and avoid that. Try and find an 06 or 07 model if you can. They have the 4HK1 TC engine in it if you're buying diesel, and that was pre-DEF and pre-DPF. The 06 and 07s are getting up in mileage. I would not buy one. I would try and find them with about 150,000 miles and under, which is getting tough. If you buy one in the 200s, just know that probably around 250, you're going to have to put a $5,000 transmission in it. And somewhere around 310, you're going to have to put a $6,000 engine. And guys, that 200,000 mile Isuzu truck is a water pump's going to go out. You're going to have some fuel injector issues. I mean, it's going to give you some trouble. But if you can find them 150,000 miles and under, that's going to give you at least a year or two of pretty reliable service. You're still going to have trouble from time to time. You need to go new if you want a completely reliable service. But at 150,000 miles, if you put a 35 or 50,000 miles on in a year, they normally don't start giving you a whole lot of issues until after 200. So just for time's sake, I'm not going to go through pages and pages of this. But here's one right here, 06 Isuzu. Now this is actually in Tennessee, 15,900. This is probably a gas truck, but let's take a look. As you can see, guys, I mean, it's easy to recognize a got junk truck. So first glance on it, the frame, from what I can tell, let me see if I can blow this picture up. Frame, from what I can tell, looks to be fairly rust-free. A lot of these dealers paint these frames, though, so when you go and you inspect these frames, you need to see if it's bubbly kind of underneath the paint. It's okay. All these frames are going to have some rust on it, but what you want to know is that they didn't just paint over pretty, serious rust. If they're going to paint over it, they need to have sanded it down pretty smooth. ideally to bare metal, and then they came in there and they painted it correctly. A lot of dealers don't do that. At $15,900, that probably wasn't the case. This frame, at first glance, looks to be decent. Next thing I'm going to look at, back doors don't have much damage. The fuel tanks on these things are normally dented in because of hitting stuff at landfills. We actually have trucks that look a lot worse than that based off this angle here. All of these Isuzu trucks, after time, this shield or whatever right here beneath the windshield, all that paint's gonna peel. That's just a very common issue. Toolboxes, there's different types of toolboxes on Got Junk Truck. This one has the ladder up the side. So at first glance, guys, this doesn't look to be a bad truck. So they give me no interior pictures. That always concerns me. I want to see interior because you can tell how if a truck's been abused by the interior. Let's take a look and see if this is a gas or diesel. It's 230,000 miles. So if it's a gas truck, it's about wore out. If it's a diesel truck, it's going to start giving you issues. However, $15,900, that might not be a bad buy, especially if you guys already have another truck. You could potentially buy this truck at $15,900 and put about $12,000, well, say $14,000, $15,000. Let's just put it at another $15,000 in it. Put an engine, put a transmission in it, fix a few things here and there, get it painted. You got about $30,000 in this truck. That's half of what you're going to get a new truck for, and you've already gotten rid of a lot of your issues. You've already solved the engine issue, you solved the transmission area. You can have a pretty reliable truck for $30,000, $31,000. Wouldn't be a bad way to go. You can also purchase this truck and run it until it starts giving you issues. So you purchase it for $15,900, you get it out there, it makes you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of business. Starts giving you issues, you bring it down, you put that engine in it, you put that transmission in it, and you roll along. We got trucks with 360,000 miles that roll great. This thing might give you trouble right from the bat. You might get 100,000 miles at it, no problem at all. It's a bit of a gamble. At $15,900, if you guys are looking for a Got Junk truck, commercialtrucktrader.com. Right now, this thing is in Thompson Station, Tennessee. I would jump all over this thing. I'd be on the phone calling them. It's a diesel truck. I'd really consider pulling the trigger. Matter of fact, when we get out of here, if one of y'all hadn't bought it already, I might be getting on the phone trying to purchase this thing. So if y'all don't want JRA and junk doctors to buy it, you better do it. The other thing I will say, one other thing on that same subject, tatrucks.com. I'm not going to go through it, but tatrucks.com out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Here's one right here, front and center. Now, I got a guy, one of our business package clients. This might be the truck he's about to purchase, but TA Trucks always have Got Junk trucks available, and a lot of times a couple of them. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, we got two questions from Jeremy Smith next. The first one is, how much do you charge to use the call center?
Yeah, so the call center, Jeremy, if you're using any of our other services, there's an access fee of $250 a month, and then there's a per job booking fee of $19. You're going to have to be on our scheduling platform. We're partnering with WorkEase to do that, or Vonago, which Jeremy, in your situation, you probably will be on one or the other anyway. So we're still working out a few issues getting the WorkEase stuff perfected. Once that's done, they'll have a specific junk removal package, and we'll let you guys know about it, and you'll be able to get a discount by working with us here at JRA on WorkEase. WorkEase is a great system. I think it's going to do better than House Call Pro for everybody. It'll be done soon. If you're on either WorkEase or Vonago, you can use our call center system. $250 access fee, $19 per book job. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, we've got one more question from Jeremy before we move on to these other questions. Talking about Google AdWords, if we double our budget, do we get double the business? At what point do you stop getting results by spending more?
Yeah, so Jeremy, when you first start out on Google AdWords, we would start you out at like $1,500 or $2,000 a month. I'd like to see, generally, you can start out at $1,000 a month, but you're not really giving it a really good shot because there's a chance that the ad is going to be knocked down part of the way through the day, and you're going to miss out on some people that are interested in purchasing. So you started out at $1,500 or $2,000. And then what we're going to calculate is what's your cost of customer acquisition, and we're going to figure out what your average job cost is. This goes back to the last Tuesday's podcast we did on figuring cost of customer acquisition. We'll figure out your average job cost, and we'll figure out your cost of customer acquisition, and we'll figure out we'll tell you what your expenses are, and you're going to come up with an allowable customer acquisition cost. And as long as these jobs are profitable, then Google's good, it's working. We then go into your AdWords campaign, and we look at what your impression share is. So if you're spending $2,000 a month, but your impression share is only 50%, then we know theoretically we can double that to $4,000 a month. You're going to get 100% impression share, and theoretically, if you got, so let's say you got 25 jobs off of $2,000, theoretically you're going to get 50 jobs off of $4,000. That doesn't mean necessarily you can just increase it by $2,000 if you've got the money, you want to give it a shot to see what happens. But you could also increase it in $500 increments or $1,000 increments, and let's keep watching this customer acquisition cost. And if it keeps moving in kind of an even curve, it could get better, could potentially get better, because at 50%, again, you could be missing out. You're always going to get some click fraud. So click fraud is when a competitor actually clicks on your ad, costs you money. It's going to happen. Now if you work with JRA, we include click fraud protection. If you don't work with JRA, I'm not going to hide what we use. We use a product called ClickCease. I'll pull it up here. ClickCease, what you can do with ClickCease is you say if one IP address clicks on my account 4 times in a week, or 2 times in an hour, or 10 times in a month, whatever you want to set it. It depends on how aggressive you want to be. You'll eliminate that click fraud protection. So ClickCease is what we use. And it does take some monitoring. You have to figure out what works. There is a possibility if you're super aggressive on blocking click fraud, if you say somebody clicks on my ad 2 times within an hour, we want to ban them, that could have potentially been a customer and you miss out on. And then on the other end, if you say if somebody clicks on my ad 30 times in a month, there's a good opportunity, there's a good chance that no junk removal customer is going to research you every single day. So that's probably too conservative. So there's a happy medium somewhere right in the middle. You have to play with it. It's depending on what you're willing to spend. If you're maxing out your budget every single day, you could probably be a bit more aggressive because you're not getting exposed to all of your customers anyway. If you're not hitting your budget every day, then be a bit more conservative as far as on actually banning IP addresses and just allow for a little bit of click fraud and knowing that there's a good chance you're showing 100% of the time for valued customers. Jeremy, you're generally, as long as that customer acquisition cost stays correct, what's going to happen is you're going to get to a point where you're just showing 100% of the time. The only way to spend more at that point is to create more aggressive campaigns. What I mean by that is, like, for example, when you first start with us on a junk removal AdWords campaign, we're not going to go after 1-800-GOT-JUNK, college hunks, and junk king search terms, because there's so much to be had with junk removal, hot tub removal, shed demolition removal, deck demolition removal, hoarder clean out, attic clean out. There's too much to go after when people aren't already set on hiring a particular brand. What happens when you get when you all of a sudden you've got it more, you want to spend more money. You're showing 100% of the time, but you're not hitting your budget. You want to show more often. We then go after got junk. Got junk and junk removal are the 2 most searched for terms for people looking for junk removal in the United States. I think it's like 60,000. I can't remember the time period. Shane told me it's 60,000. I should know this, but it's 60,000 searches for got junk, 60,000 searches for junk removal. And I don't know if that's in a week or in a month or what it is, but it's the exact same. So we are missing out on potential business when we're not going after got junk. But what we do see is your customer acquisition cost is higher on the got junk search term because a lot of those people searching for got junk want to hire 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So you have to have a compelling landing page and compelling ad copy to get them to click on your ad and then choose your company, because you're not got junk. So what else we got?
Yeah, we got David Houston asking,
Hey, David.
do you think the call center and marketing that you offer could get me enough business to stay profitable in a population of 150 to 175,000 people in a more rural area within a 50 to 70 mile radius from my base? Thanks for all the info, David.
150,000 to 175,000, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's around a 50-mile radius?
50 to 70 mile radius.
Okay. So you're going to have, obviously a fair amount of travel expense there and time expense. The call center for sure. The call center, so it's $450 a month access fee if you're not using any of our other services, $19 per book job. You could use it as just a backup if you wanted, or if you want us to take all the call, you can. The call center is going to be profitable because the nice thing is, yeah, you got that fixed cost of $450 or $250 depending on if you're using any of our other services, but everything else is you're just paying for results. So it's $19 per book job. I can guarantee you you cannot afford not to use the JRA call center or have a backup plan in place. So if you don't have a backup plan in place and you're not using the JRA call center, you're losing money. Paying us and having us book these jobs is going to be profitable for you. 150 to 175,000 people. He hasn't given us an area, has he, or income? A lot of it depends on. I mean, a lot of smaller areas, you're going to have. If you have 175,000 people, you know, you might only have 20,000, 10 or 20,000 people that are actually interested, or less. It might be 5,000 people interested in your services or able to pay for your services. So it's a variable. I really can't answer it. If you're in a market that is not very competitive, there's a good chance your cost per click is going to be low enough that, yeah, the answer to that question is yes. However, here's what I will tell you. Is David? Is that his name? David, if you want to email me, lee@junkra.com, I'll be happy to look into your market and tell you what kind of value I think we can provide. There's also a good chance that those of you guys that are in less competitive markets and smaller markets, that actually does require less management on our part. So if you guys agree on a reduced time that we spend actively managing your campaign, but we're actually going to get the campaign set up correctly. So you're going to have the most efficient junk removal campaign out there. We'll still monitor it, but instead of looking at it daily like we do everybody else, it might be we look at it, look at it once a week or once every other week, and then we only meet with you once a month on it. You know, whereas all of our other customers that manage with us AdWords, the full package, you have unlimited access to an AdWords rep. We might somewhat restrict that in a smaller area, but by doing that, we might be able to get that cost down just a bit. Only in smaller areas that are less competitive. Hey, but one more thing. It just goes back. You need to watch that last episode, cost of customer acquisition. You got to figure cost of customer acquisition, figure out what your allowable acquisition cost is, and that's going to answer your question. So we can figure it out pretty quick. If you try it out for 1 month, we can figure it out pretty quick if it's going to be profitable or not.
We got another question in from Hami on Facebook. How does one find out the profit percentage using the total expense of a particular job? I have seen and heard of just ×2 the expense to get your profit, but I want to know how to get the percentage.
It was AWW app, correct?
Yes.
This is great, Hami. Hami's contacting this because he's landed himself a big job, and he's figured out his expenses. And instead of doing just volume rate, he's figured his expenses, and he wants to earn a certain profit percentage. So, all right, let's say you've got $15,000 in expenses. 15,000 expenses. Let's get on Amazon, Aaron, after this and order me a stylus.
All right.
Because my handwriting is terrible, and it'll be a little bit better with a stylus. All right, you've got 15. You've gone up, and you figure between dumpsters or disposal fees, between labor, between fuel, between wear and tear on your vehicle. You've added up all your expenses, and you're going to have $15,000 in it. Let's say you want to earn on that $15,000. You want to earn 40% margins. So you want to earn 40%. So here's what you know. You know that if you want to earn profit of 40%, your expenses are going to be 60%. So what you do is you do 15,000 divided by 0.6. So that's 15,000 divided by 60%. Which gives you $25,000. And then you double check yourself, even though this is right and we know it's right, but let's double check ourselves. So you need to charge $25,000. And the way you verify this is correct, you do 25,000 minus 15,000 in expenses is $10,000. That's going to be your profit. So your profit on this deal is going to be $10,000. And then you're then going to take your $10,000 profit we're We're double checking here, guys. $10,000 profit, we're going to divide it by the cost of the job, which is $25,000. This equals 40%, 0.4. Everybody follow that? This is extremely, this is a really good deal to have. Guys, whenever you've got a really large job, you don't, large job meaning like you're not even going to use your truck, it's so big. You're going to get 30 and 40-yard containers. So like our partner in Huntington Beach, he's got a humongous job. He's starting going on Monday. It's going to take him all week to do, just a huge job. Jaime is working on a job in Oklahoma, somewhere in Oklahoma. And he got a large job. He's trying to figure this out. So what he's doing is he's going to use dumpsters instead of using dump trucks. So because it's more efficient that way, it's much more time efficient. The other thing is, guys, when y'all get a big job, you got to think about what's your opportunity cost on this big job. Too many of you guys, when you guys get a large job, you're not thinking about the opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost is what are you giving up to do this really large job? So yeah, you get this huge job, you're going to make $10,000 on, but it's going to take you a week to do. And the rest of that week, you could have earned another $5,000 or $10,000, and let's say $5,000 bucks. You could have profited $5,000 that week, but you turned away that work because you wanted to focus in on this large job. So what did you really make on this large job? You really made $5,000. Well, guys, you could have done your normal schedule throughout the week, made $5K, and had a chance at more repeat customers. Because, guys, again, the key on this deal is you got to touch as many people as you can, you know, legally. I'm not telling you, you know, you need to reach as many different people as you can out there, because the more people you come in contact with, the more people you do jobs for is, again, the more referrals you're going to get, the more repeat business you're going to get, and the more online reviews that are going to be left, which is going to allow people to then, in turn, hire you. So in order to, you still don't want to I'm not telling you to turn away these large jobs, but what you want to make sure is you're bidding them high enough to make it worth it for you to actually bring in some temporary labor or to sub something out. That way you can still have your dump truck rolling and your crews rolling, so you can continue having that income come in. You don't want to give up income for a really large job. You need to be able to do both at the same time, so you need to bid that high enough. This formula I just talked about, 40 on a large job, if you're really busy and and you're going to need to get temporary labor in, making 45%, 40%, those are good margins. That might, I'd shoot for at least that. We've been in situations where we've had crews, during the slow season or whatever, and we've got extra crews, and we've got trucks that might be sitting a little bit. Yeah, we'll go ahead and maybe bid that at 30%, just to try and make sure we get those jobs in and get that job. And at 45%, you still might have a little bit of leeway. So that's how you figure that, though. We'll take another question here in a minute, Aaron. I would like to keep rolling through our list a bit here. So, guys, again, check us out, JRA.com. We got AdWords management services, search engine optimization. We're going to have a brand new service that we're going to be announcing here soon. Y'all going to freaking flip out about. It's going to be absolutely nuts. Never done to our knowledge, and no advertising company out there, period's done it. We're going to do it for junk removal and other people in the service industry. That's going to be announced real soon. Call center, general consulting services, and full business packages. Those of you guys that are looking to get in business, we got a couple people that have bought business packages watching this right now. Those of you looking to get in business, we're going to help you out. Forget about going the franchise route now. We got the same great material, the same great training available at a fraction of the cost, and you're not handcuffed. You don't have your hands tied to that franchise anymore. And that's available at JRA.com, that information. Guys, once you've grown, you've got a couple trucks running, you're no longer on the truck, you've got a team lead. You don't want just one team leader. You want as many people as possible within your organization to be able to quote jobs. So this requires you to constantly be training your people. There's three things this requires. Number one, you got to always be hiring. All the time, we are always interviewing, we're always hiring. There's going to get to a point, maybe, it's been so long since we've been in this point that I might be telling a lie here. I don't think I'm telling a lie, but I might be. There is going to get to a point where where you're staffed up, where you have all the people you need, but you still interview them, because you don't know. There could be some rock star out there that you're missing out on. And if you find that individual, you hire them, and you start working them, and you treat your organization like a sports team. So if LeBron and the Lakers ain't winning right now, he's still scoring, but they ain't winning. If LeBron gets to the point he consistently begins missing shots, it doesn't matter if he's the greatest basketball player of all time, which he isn't. Michael Jordan's the best. But if LeBron, it doesn't matter if he's the greatest of all time and has done all this great stuff for the organization in the past, if he starts to consistently no longer produce, LeBron's going to need to ride the bench. So when you get a sports team is put together, and the coach is always evaluating how are players doing in practice, how are they doing in the games. And if these players you've got are not performing, then their hours get reduced, and the guys that are performing get more hours. And it could be that you eventually need to let somebody go. What we found is by treating it like that, people push themselves harder. They begin producing more. When they begin producing more, you have happier customers. You're getting more jobs done. You're making more profits. So lo and behold, because you're treating it like a sports team, your entire production has gone up, your efficiency has gone up, and you don't have to get rid of anybody. You don't have to reduce hours because you're getting more jobs and more customers because you're doing a better job for your current customers, who is then referring you to friends, using you again, and reviewing you online. And you don't want just one mechanic, guys. You know that your trucks are going to break down at some point or another. You don't want to rely on just one mechanic. We're a little guilty of this from time to time. We've got a mobile mechanic, does great work, but sometimes it's a week or two before he gets to our stuff. I've had a truck that needs an engine put on it that's been sitting there for probably 3 weeks or a month now. It's got to get done now because we're getting into busy season. That thing's just been sitting there, so you don't want just one mechanic either. The next thing we're going to talk about is just one form of advertising. That's going to be a bit expansive. It's also going to be extremely important. So let's hit a couple questions or zip codes that we have.
Yeah, so we really just had one major thing chimed in. David got back and said South Central Oklahoma. Approximately median income is from the mid-20s to around 50,000.
I think I actually had a conversation. David, did you call in at one point? I think I actually talked to you at one point. That sounds familiar. Yeah, I haven't 100% looked into that to that market, but you can always give it a shot, and you figure out your cost of customer acquisition. And if your cost of customer acquisition isn't right, we will help you with that. If you hire us for AdWords management or whatever, we'll try it out give it at least a couple months, I would recommend. And then let's watch your cost of customer acquisition. If it's not profitable, if your average job isn't high enough and it's not profitable, I'm going to be the first person to tell you, hey, I don't expect you to continue paying for services to us if you're not making money. So at that point, we would need to make an adjustment.
And we got a couple of zip codes rolling in here.
Awesome.
First one is from Lakeside Junk Removal.
Michigan.
They are 53154.
53154. I think that's Michigan. Is that Michigan or Milwaukee? I can't remember. 53154 zip code. I should know this. Wisconsin. That's right. Wisconsin. That's Ken. How you doing, Ken? Okay. So let's go to Junk King right here. What we're going to do here, guys, is anytime if you guys have a zip code and you want us to help you set your prices, then give us your zip code. I'm not going to promise we're going to get to everybody. We need to kind of have a hard stop at about 1 o'clock today. But we will try and get to as many people as we can. And one thing to keep in mind when we're giving you these pricing suggestions, these are suggestions if you're running a professional business, or at least you have a professional presentation. I'm fine if you fake it until you make it. If you have a professional website and, like these JRA sites, for example, we'll go back to Junk King, but let's look at Genie junk Removal. This is not his truck. This is a truck. This is one of our trucks that we rebranded. This site, this is a JRA website, and Kendall's truck is a pickup truck and trailer. It's not a dump truck. Kendall's such a likable guy, such a nice guy, and customers love him, that when he shows up, they might ask, man, I was expecting a larger truck. And Kendall will say, yeah, we're using this truck and trailer today, but I promise you, we can get as much stuff in it. So he's able to, actually he can get more stuff in it. He has a lot larger truck. He's able to use a different vehicle, and that might not look quite as professional. He's able to fake it till he makes it because he himself is going out on the jobs, and the customers just like him. So what the customers are going to forget about the fact you didn't show up in this shiny truck. You showed up in a truck and trailer. because you're such a likable guy, and at the end, you don't damage property. You get the stuff loaded up. You give them, you get a price. They're done. They don't have to worry about it, and you move on. What this allows you to do to fake it till you make it is allows you to get more customers and charge more. So eventually, you're going to have made it, and this is going to be your truck, right here. So, I'm all for that. Let's go back to Junk King. The very first thing we normally do we use Junk King as a reference. We've got to get one of these done for our site. I'm so tired of plugging Junk King. But 53145, or 51, I'm sorry, I've got a little dyslexia going on there. 51354. I had some serious dyslexia going on there.
53154.
So I wrote it down. I had minor dyslexia going on. So I remembered it right, but I wrote it down incorrectly. 53154. Okay. All right. So good news. They are in that area. Let's go by truckload. Minimum charge for Junk King between 119 and 168. We'll put it at 119. And the full load rate is equivalent to 6 pickup truck loads. So you add 6 pickup truck loads on here. Their full load rate is 588. This is in Milwaukee. 588. This is an 18 cubic yard truck. 588 divided by 18, $32. We'll just put it at it's $32.67 per cubic yard. How big's his truck? Did he say? Guys, if you're gonna give us want us to pull pricing, here's what we need. We need your zip code. We need your truck size. Those are the two most important things we need right there to be able to calculate this. Let's calculate it off of 15 cubic yards. So
16-foot trailer. Lakeside, what are the other dimensions on the 16 feet?
Yeah, so if you...
Oh, sorry. 16 feet long, 6 feet wide, 4-foot walls. Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, if you don't have the cubic yards on it, just give us the full dimensions, length, width, and height. 16 wide, was it 4 high?
Yep.
And then how...
6.
I think this is something like... yeah, it's 14 yards, so we'll figure it's 14.22. We'll figure that at 14 yards. Okay, so 32.67 times 14. Looking at the full load rate, if you're using the Junk King prices of 457, I'd probably raise this up some because you got a smaller trailer. Junk King's normally the cheapest. I'd probably stick this at 495. We need just a 495 is a common price point, so we really need just a common price point here. But 495 on a full. Let me get up here, that way you guys can actually see this. I'm not going to give you an 1/8 of a load, a 1/6 of a load, 1/3 of a load, 3/8 of a load, 7/8 of a load, so on and so forth. I'm just going to give you the main price points. So this is Lakeside Junk Removal. Lakeside, give me your website. Put your website on here. We're going to pull your website up here in just a second. Lakeside Junk Removal in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Minimum load, I'd recommend being... Junk King's at 119. If you guys aren't really busy, if you're on the truck, you can charge less on your minimum and get a little bit more jobs. But I do a minimum load of either 99 or 115. It's up to you. It's up to you if the minimum load's worth it for you. I'll get that website in just 1 second. Quarter load. We need to go down here. Let's get this. I normally actually work backwards here. So we start out with full. Guys, the full is 495. Then 3/4 load is 90% of 495. What is that, Aaron? 0.90. I'll do it.
Been a while since I took a math class, guys.
495 times 0.9. 445 on 3/4. This is a real common one. I need to just have this in front of me. Actually, I probably have memorized after this. Half load is 67% of the full load rate. So again, guys, in this case, 67% of the full load rate, 0.67 times 495. We got 330. Quarter load rate, the heck was the quarter load rate? I think it's 40%. 0.4 times 495. We got a mechanic here who's real loud. Y'all probably don't hear him in the background. All right. $200 a quarter load. It's a great price right here, Ken. 99 minimum or 115. $200 for quarter truckload. $330 for half load, $445 for three-quarter load, $495 for full. You know, and the nice thing when you have a smaller truck is even though you're charging more per cubic yard, you're actually still cheaper than the advertised price for Junk King, who advertised it at $588. Still sounds nicer. Okay, what's his website? LakesideJunkRemoval.com.
That's it.
Yeah, I've been to it before, so. Okay, Ken, absolutely, if you did this job, that was a hell of a job. That's a big money maker. But having pictures like this is good because when you do encounter people that have this much stuff, then they want to know you're capable of doing that job. That would almost need to be on a hoarder page or on a picture page, you know, that, or you could have it somewhere on the web page maybe if you want it a little bit further down. I would recommend what a lot of people want to see. People get grossed out. So there's a lot of junk removal customers out there that don't have stuff like that. They're like, I want you to remove my halfway decent couch and living room set and bedroom set because I'm getting new furniture in and I have a $500,000 or $1 million house. I don't have this drug house full of crap or this warehouse full of just trash. This company isn't for me. They probably don't do this kind of stuff. You know, they don't want to think that they don't want their neighbors thinking that the company that's going to come out is removing this type of nasty stuff from their home. Majority of your customers are going to have pretty nice stuff. So what you want to show is you want to show happy people, or you want to show employees and cleanliness, which isn't what you do, I understand. But studies have shown by showing employees and cleanliness, you're actually and smiling faces, you're actually going to increase conversions for those type of people. Now, on this Junk Doctors page, there is a hoarding page that shows the kind of stuff you're talking about, which is also great to have because you know those are really profitable jobs for you as well. Like the colors, you know, like the colors on the site. This site's been updated since I was last there, so like these boxes. That's cool. Seems kind of familiar. I like it. So yeah, I mean, overall a good site. I would just work on that. I'd work on that picture also. And again, you got to fake it till you make it. So I'd work on that picture to start with. What else we got?
So we've got a fair number of zip codes in. I've gone ahead and taken those down, guys, because we're starting to run a little short on time here. So I've got you down in the order you put them, and we'll start addressing those in that order on the next live stream on Tuesday, which we'll be doing from San Francisco. And we did have one other question in here from Johnny Bobby that I kind of wanted to hit. And he said, leftoversdisposal.com hit me hard. Guys, what do you think about this website?
Leftoversdisposal.com. Aaron, I might actually have you chime in on this also. Leftovers.
You got it.
Disposal.com. All right, so is it mainly, all right, looks like you do junk removal and dumpster rental. I'm not, all right, good looking site. You know, for my first impression that I get, I'm gonna let Aaron talk, is good looking site. I'm not a huge fan of the slider. It's too active. Let's look at it on mobile. Well, I might be able to, this isn't always 100% accurate. Let me minimize that, okay. Mobile, it loses a lot of its effectiveness. Let's see if this appears the same on my cell phone. Leftoversdisposal.com. Creative name. It looks a little better on here than it did on my computer, but the problem with the slider and these images are not properly optimized to show on mobile, and the slider is going to slow down your page load speed. So one of the most critical factors now, it's like the most critical, other than having a secure website for SEO, is how fast your page loads. This slider is going to show that down. Also, guys, when you have images on your website, you need to reduce the pixel size. You don't want really, really high pixel numbers because that's going to slow down your page load speed. So you want it to appear right, but you don't want really high pixel numbers. I like the booking thing there, trying to get people to go ahead and get started. I mean, that's nice. Again, I think I mentioned before, you need smiling people, and people want to see who they're hiring coming to their house. I like the boxes. Recycling logo is nice. The boxes, the font's a little tough to read, the smaller stuff here. But I do understand that the junk removal and dumpster rental is probably the main thing you're going after anyway. This video here is terrible. I haven't even watched it. That looks horrible. You told me to be hard. I'm gonna be hard on you. Let's turn it on then. Let's watch it. Let's see if the video itself is any better. Too long. 10 minutes and 38 seconds. Too long for a video on your homepage.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is another episode of Johnny Bobby's Junk Caller Roll Off.
It must be JB.
Job over here, so order clean up. Well, these folks left a mess in here, but guess what? We're gonna come get it. All right, we're gonna do a walkthrough, show you what we're working with, and we're gonna get on to it. So, just give you an idea of what we do. We're gonna get rid of all this stuff. Trash can.
So we're not going to go through the whole video right there. Good guys, everybody watching, check out leftoversdisposal.com if y'all want to watch his video right there and check it out. Give everybody else kind of give some feedback too. This is too long of a video for a homepage. Your homepage video needs to be like 30 seconds to a minute. A minute's probably a little long, and it needs to give you a good overview of kind of what you do at a minimum. There's also some creative things you can do, but that's too long of a video. People will watch these videos too, but this 10-minute long videos it's got too much going on, too long. Like this part, like the pictures, you got all your information on the bottom. Overall, pretty good site. A few changes I think will make it work. Aaron, what do you think? What you think about it?
Yeah, one of the things you want to think about is just like the user experience and just making things as simple as possible. So presenting information in like a really concise way. So I'm on my computer right now. Lee, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down to just that second section with all the boxes. Yep, that one right there. So as you can see, there's each one of these sections has kind of a different copy link. So there's different links of text under each of these headings. People don't really want to read the paragraph there. So these first two are kind of perfect. Like the get rid of junk from your home office or garage. Awesome. You've got some keywords in there. It's clear, it's concise. Somebody's going to read that tagline and click on it. With the hoarder eviction, for example, it's got extra words. You know, you're saying leftovers junk hauling is here and ready to take over in the overwhelming event your property has been literally trashed out by a hoarder or former evicted tenant. Way too long. You could cut that down to, we'll clean out, hoarders or tenants that left a mess. That's it. So cut those down, put effectively enough text that you're going to SEO well, but the less text that you have for people to actually read, the better. So there's a balance to strike there. Again, down in the dumpster rental section, you do have, several paragraphs going on. Nobody really wants to read through that.
This section?
Yeah,
okay.
Yep, that section right there. So again, I haven't read all of this, but really, if someone's looking to rent a dumpster, try using kind of icons or visual aids as much as possible. So like an icon with one line of text that's like, contact us or book online, and then boom, we'll drop off the dumpster. You fill it up, we pick it up, done. That's it. Like right there, they get enough info, and then you have a link to the internal page for dumpster rental where you've got some more, detailed information on it.
This is the dumpster page. I'm gonna add one thing. One thing on dumpsters that's great information is people don't know exactly how big of a container they need. So if you can give them, you can have a graphic designer actually come up with a drawing of different items. You tell them how much stuff can go in it, or equate it to a number of bedrooms or number of items. That's really important on dumpsters, just because people don't know, do I need a 15-yard container? Do I need a 20? Do I need a 30? Do I need a massive 40? They don't know what size container they need. So that's really important on there. You've got prices on here. I'm assuming these are cities. Shreveport, Bossier, and Minden are probably cities. So I would try and help people out understand exactly how much stuff a container holds. Don't worry, 20-yard and 30-yard doesn't mean anything to anybody. That's just what they're going to tell you that the size they need once they've determined it. So you want to try and help people out on that. You got anything else to add on this, Aaron?
I'm just going to go ahead and reply on here. I was typing you a message back, Johnny Bobby. Yeah, it's not even necessarily always about too long. It's about how the information is divided. And if it's just paragraph, people think like, oh, I have so much reading to do. Whereas, Lee, would you mind you can go to any one of our sites, but I can show you a place where we've got a lot of information and it's just divided up in a way.
Altitude work.
Let's just do Genie joke removal. That one's,
Okay.
I know that one's got the slider section on there. Or junk doctors.
All right, my cast is quit, and it's saying no longer there's not a device found.
Oh, that's no fun.
Where's the remote? Well, we don't have a whole lot of time, but I'll try it. If you want to keep talking, I'll try and get it going.
Yeah, so one of the sections that we've got on there, we've got a kind of step-by-step process of how junk removal works. And if we put it in a paragraph, it would be really boring and not fun to read or anything. All we have it divided into is just 6 visual boxes. So they're like a darker color with text, and then they've got a number on the left side. And simply by dividing up all the copy into those and a heading with some text under it, all of a sudden people will actually read it. We also have a slider section towards the bottom where we have a picture accompanied by text. And on Junk Doctors, when we cleaned up that site, which we're still in the process of, we actually took all of the original copy from the front page because we didn't want to lose any of that on-page SEO value, and we stashed it with a bunch of pictures. So effectively, that text is all still there, but it's, I don't want to say hidden because then it sounds like we're doing black hat SEO, but you have to click through a slider to get to it. So if someone's not interested, they don't have to read it. There we go. I like that solution.
All right, what you got?
All right, so if you go down right there, that first section, we've got icons, and then you've got a descriptive term right underneath it. Visually, though, if you're not interested in that section, it's still visually appealing enough that you're just like, okay, they offer these things, got it. And then if someone wants that further information, they can access it there. It might be a little hard to see on screen.
Okay, I was afraid it was.
And then it's not about the distance, it's just the brightness.
Okay,
Can you turn the brightness down some?
Yeah. That better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay.
And then on that next section with the junk removal
Tell me when to
process,
stop.
keep going a little bit more. Right there. So this section right here, this is the one we were talking about. This just walks you through like what junk removal is like, and simply because it divides these up into these smaller sections, people are more likely to read them. And again, if someone's not interested, they see this visual section and they're just like, oh, I'm going to scroll past and get to the section that I actually want. So regardless, you're keeping interest even if someone is looking for a very specific piece of information.
Okay, so guys, any last? If we will take last questions in a minute. We're gonna finish through our agenda here that we had initially come up with. I believe our cast is working again, but we are about to run out of time. Let's see, cast. There we are. Okay, we're back up and running there. Okay, great. All right. This is one of the most important things. You don't want just one form of advertising. So those of you guys out there and you're relying just on Craigslist, you're relying just on Facebook Buy Sell Trade, just on Google Ads, just on SEO, whatever, you're making a big mistake. It used to scare the absolute hell out of me because we were so reliant on Google Ads. This is before we showed well organically. This is before we were doing Home Advisor. Home Advisor wasn't even that big of a deal. It was like 80% of our business was coming from Google Ads, and I was like, what the heck happens if, number one, somebody comes in here and they just a couple companies come in here with more money than we had at the time and kill us? What happens if Google just stops doing Google Ads? That ain't gonna happen, but they could theoretically change it around. You don't want to be 100% reliant on that. I used to be nervous about Google changing something on Google Ads, and all of a sudden 80% of our business just tanking and us just freaking dying. Craigslist could go away. Google Ads ain't gonna go away. Craigslist, I would not be surprised if I log in on Craigslist.com tomorrow morning and Craigslist is gone. Craigslist hasn't been updated in 10 years, folks. They're charging a little bit now, but they still aren't making enough money. Less and less people are using Craigslist. Craigslist could get away with services. Those of you out there that were on that casual encounter section, you're finding you little friendly people at night, ladies of the night, your casual encounter section's gone. Your services could go away too. So Craigslist could disappear. Facebook buy-sell trade groups, they could ban you. Those of you getting business off Facebook buy-sell trade groups, they could take a knife and they could slit your throat. You don't want to rely just on them. Local municipalities could ban you from putting graphics on the side of your vehicles. It has been done before in different places throughout the country. One thing our area does is we can't park our truck near a road without getting in trouble. So they'll fine us for illegal signage. So these are all just whatever form of advertising you're doing, you need to diversify your advertising some. Now this kind of runs, some of you guys are saying, well, what you're saying, what you said in this past video, is you needed to spend the most money on what is the lowest acquisition cost before moving on to the next. That is correct, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of diversification going and at least a backup plan in place. That way, if the well runs dry on one of your advertising, or if the well just disappears on one of your advertising mediums, that you're able to quickly shift into another one to try and help kind of relieve some of the pain. You guys, you don't want just one dump. That dump could close, the rates could go up, they could close, they could start becoming more restrictive on what they take and what they don't take, have several dumps available at any given time. You don't just you don't want just one manager, and that means you dummy. Y'all are out there trying to be a hero and manage this thing for years and years, and before you know it, you're gonna get sick, you're gonna get hurt, somebody's gonna die, and you ain't gonna be around to run your business. Your business is gonna suffer. You're dealing with a death in the family, and you're also dealing with money issues because you can't operate because the business is relying on you. You don't want to be a slave to your business. You need systems and people in place to prevent that from happening. You don't want just one tire store. This is definitely junk removal specific, but guys, you're gonna have nails in your tires. There's gonna be issues with your tires. You wanna have a couple tire stores that you know can quickly get to you and treat you as a priority. You also, with those of you guys with the Isuzu trucks, that 250, I'm about to say it wrong, but it's like 215, 65, or 16 and a half. Those tire sizes can be hard to find. We've got tire stores that stock those tire sizes just for us. Same with our Isuzu NRRs, which are 219 tires, and they're 19 and a half inch rims. No, they're 19 and a half inch rims, I'm sorry. Your 275, 19 and a half inch rims, those are hard to come by. Again, we have tire stores that stock it just for us. If you don't have a tire store that's willing to do that, then you yourself need to buy some extra tires and actually take them to that tire store so you can get those tires replaced. Don't forget about weekend schedules on those tire stores. You know, if you have trouble on Saturday, you need that baby to get up and rolling. You don't want just one or two big customers. This applies to all business everywhere. When we first opened up in Charlotte, right off the bat, we landed like a huge contract, over $100,000 a year contract. So we scale up, we get trucks available to handle that, and then we land another large contract. So it's like 85% of our business is from two really large contract customers. And I was like, damn, what happens if these guys quit using us? You know, all of a sudden we've scaled up, we've hired people, and you know, we're doing 2-3 residential jobs a day, but we're running 2 full trucks because of these contract jobs. So that's scary. Luckily, we kept advertising, and now we've got more residential work in Charlotte, which is relieved that. You know, we still have really busy on the contract customers. They never left, but had they left, that would have really, really hurt us. In junk removal, it's not critical, but in other businesses, you don't want one vendor or manufacturer you rely 100% on. That manufacturer goes out of business. If they go through if their workers strike, if something happens where you can no longer get the product you rely on, you're gonna get crushed. You're gonna die. Number 15, I'm sorry, I'm running through my list here, and I'm not even saying numbers. Guys, here's one thing you remember. You want one spouse, you want one wife, you want one lover, you want one husband, but everything else you want multiple of. Everything else out there you want multiple of. And if you don't get that, then you're gonna get in trouble with your business. I want every single one of you after this podcast or sometime this evening, if you guys are out on jobs, I want you getting, I like paper, I like pen and paper. If you'd rather do an iPad or whatever, that's fine. Microsoft Word, I want you to type out what are the 5 most critical things in my business right now that if something were to happen, what are the things that I only have one of? If something were to happen, is going to crush my business, and you need to put a plan in place to get backup options in place. It was amazing last night. Brett is a business partner with JRA. He deals with a lot of the technical aspect of it. And he's actually in Phoenix, but he comes into town, and he's in town this week. We went out to eat at Texas Roadhouse, and it was me, Christian, and Brett. Luckily, Aaron didn't come. Aaron had shot a commercial shoot before. Aaron came back to the office, and he worked till about 11 o'clock or so last night getting one of these commercials edited. We went to Texas Roadhouse, and then we got there, I don't know, 7:45, it tells a 15-minute wait. I was like, okay, cool, that works. 15-minute wait works great. We sit down, and we get to talking. We're talking about business stuff. Before we know it, all of a sudden a salad shows up for Aaron. Aaron's the only one, or not Aaron, Christian gets a salad, and it shows up, and all of a sudden we look, and it's been an hour. We've been waiting on a salad for an hour, and so then we're at, you know, we asked the waitress, how long on our food? And she tells us, well, according to the kitchen, it's going to be just a bit. Well, what the hell does just a bit mean? You know, is just a bit 5 minutes? Is it 5-minute bits, or is it 30-minute bits? You know, because that's a big difference when you've already been waiting an hour. So if she finally comes back and says, well, I double checked, and they said there's 2 tickets in front of you. Well, how long do 2 tickets make before we get our food? So basically, we told them, we were nice about it, but we said, listen, we're going to be here 10 more minutes. If our food is not here in 10 minutes, we're going. We got things to do. Manager finally comes by. First off, she tells us, well, I understand, if that doesn't work out, if it doesn't work out, all you have to pay, you just have to pay for your drinks. And I'm like, no, it's like, we came here, we didn't come here to drink, we came here to eat. So if we don't get our food, we ain't paying. So our food needs to be here within 10 minutes. We'll be happy campers and we'll be good to go. So anyway, manager comes out, we talk to the manager, and it turns out, she walked up, I said, man, y'all having a difficult night tonight, one of those nights, isn't it? She said, yeah, it's been tough. And I said, well, I asked her, what happened? She said, our printer ran out. I said, like a printer, like, is that a position in a restaurant, or are you talking about like a piece of equipment that prints out stuff? She said, it's our printer in the kitchen went out. And I'm sitting here like, you're an hour behind because the printer in your kitchen went out. One, you could have a backup printer. Two, your waitress has been writing tickets down on a sheet of paper. Why not just have your waitresses and your waiters take the paper, put them on the line for the kitchen, and the kitchen just run down the order? If anything, guys, this is just illustrating a point. There was no backup option in place. There was no backup printer, which doesn't, if you don't want a backup printer, fine. But your people need to realize that if this daggone thing blows up and quits working, that you got pen and paper. Write it down, keep rolling. 5 minutes should have been lost at most. 5 minutes should have been spent diagnosing the issues of that printer, and then they should have moved on to paper receipts. Absolutely terrible, terrible, terrible. Absolutely horrible. Horrible management in that case. Not overall, but in that case, it was handled poorly. You don't want customers saying stuff about your junk removal business and talking bad about your junk removal business because you were stupid, like I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. So if you do this one thing right, if you don't rely on just one thing, your business is going to be wildly successful. You're going to have a secure business. You're going to have a free business, and you're going to have one hell of a life. What kind of questions we got to kind of wrap everything up? I got time for 2 questions. We need to wrap up here in 2 minutes. So what we got? I'm going to make it quick.
We're having a bit of a problem loading these YouTube comments right now, so I'm bringing it up in a different browser window.
All right.
We have fewer of these questions. We have a lot of requests for people to look at websites and zip codes. I've got them all written down.
Give me one website. Just give me a website.
All right. What's this first one?
You and I go over it.
This one. Code 3. Website is code3junkremoval.com.
Yep. I like Code 3's truck in removal. Okay, here we go. Okay, Aaron, I'm gonna let you diagnose this. I see something right off the bat. I'm gonna let you diagnose. Well, also, you need to look at mobile also. We don't have time for that today, but diagnose the desktop version.
All right, I'm logging in right now.
Oh, I'm not casting. I thought I was casting. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Pull that up.
All right, cool.
There we go. Okay.
Cool.
You can do it off this now.
Yeah. So first things first. Again, like we've been saying, you need people in the shot. Everybody likes to see a face when they come in. Everybody likes to see a smiling face, somebody who's going to come out and actually get them. It's got a lot of white space on either side. It's all, like the centralized is not an issue, but it's very very open. The mobile version does look a little bit better on that one. You do have the phone number at the top. That's good, but that phone number should be bigger right when you log in, and then you can attach it to a sticky header. I do like the big contact us button.
What he means, guys, by sticky header. So you got your phone number actually listed twice right here. That looks good. What I would actually have happen is when they first land on the page, I would not show this phone number. I would just show this one. And then as you scroll down, what a sticky header is, and we can show you on one of our sites, what would happen is all of a sudden the phone number would appear up here. And it would stay up at the very top of that screen, click to call phone number, especially on mobile, and as you scroll down, it would remain. That's really important because what you don't want to have happen is somebody scroll through on your site and they can't find a phone number. If you put it up top in the sticky header, they'll see it all the time. Keep on, Aaron. Thanks.
Yeah. So let's bring this back up. Yeah, so we've got all the social media links. Usually we'll put those somewhere at the bottom, something like that. You've got, all right, so we've got 3 icons. Icons aren't bad. So you have a lot of copy here, and it seems very disorganized. You've got this really, really long title in the center, with like Chandler, Mesa, Gilbert, and Valley White. So you've got 4 lines there, kind of throws everything off. The rest of the copy is still like centered. It looks a little awkward. What we'd probably do is he's out for some designed like contained boxes. So we'd put a backdrop on there that's either darker or lighter, change that text color to go with it, kind of change the shape of those icons to be more square, and then reduce the amount of copy, the alignment, and the size of the titles in particular.
I'm gonna add one thing. If you want a really, really quick change to improve this, you can keep using you could use these pictures, but make whatever services it is you want, whatever you want to point out, make that text bold and get rid of a lot of this small stuff. This small stuff, I think a lot of people are doing it for SEO. Guys, SEO heavy text on your home page, that is old school SEO. You want some text so Google knows what you're talking about, but Google is actually giving almost as much weight if you have additional pages specific to a particular subject, and those are text heavy explaining that subject, then that's going to provide the same, probably more weight on SEO than having a real text heavy website. I would not call this a text heavy website. I think a lot of the text isn't designed. I would definitely eliminate, I'm not even reading through this stuff, but I would eliminate a lot of this stuff. I mean, you mentioned Chandler, Mesa, Gilbert, Tempe, Scottsdale, and Phoenix here. And then you've got the same, I mean, you're talking about Mesa, Gilbert, and Valley Ride junk removal. I think you're doing this for SEO reasons, but it's really not required as much anymore. And it takes away some from the user experience. So we can continue going through this a bit more later. I think we do need to go ahead and wrap up though. So every Tuesday, every Thursday, we are here at 12 o'clock, or Making Hay with JRA is broadcasting live at 12. We're going to be in San Francisco visiting a customer and creating some awesome content next week, or next Tuesday. So we will be broadcasting, but it's going to be live from San Francisco. I think next week we'll probably make that mainly a Q&A session. So we'll answer any questions you have. If we're able to do pricing and evaluate websites, we need to think about how to do it, make the best way to do that, Aaron. Then that's what we'll do as well. But we'll plan on next Tuesday being mainly Q&A. That's probably going to be an abbreviated session, maybe 45 minutes, but we'll try and get everybody a bunch of value. Check us out, junkrA.com, 919-617-1975. I am Lee Godbold, and this has been Making Hay with JRA, brought to you by Junk Removal Authority. Talk to everybody soon.